Hey everybody, it's Daniel with the Stuff of Legend, here again for another episode of Bro Talk. Today's Bro Talk is with my good friend and lifelong homeboy, Zach Nagatani. Zach has his own YouTube channel. Would you care to explain?
Yes, it is also about webs, as this episode will be.
Yeah.
But a different kind of web.
Not this kind.
It's called 5-Minute Web Dev. That's 5-minute web dev. 5-minute tutorials on different web development topics. So if you're into programming or if you're a web designer, stuff like that, you can learn a lot from my videos. I put them out weekly. 5-minute web dev. Check it out.
Give him a little love, and today he's going to be my guest talking about Spider-Man Homecoming. So we both have our Homecoming shirts on. He's going to be our Miles Morales today. He's actually also Puerto Rican. So half Puerto Rican, half Japanese. Today, I'm going to be asking Zach some questions. We'll have discussion on each of these topics as well, so that you can experience the mind of some lifelong fans on the subject of Spider-Man, and specifically Spider-Man Homecoming. The first question I have for you today is, how long have you been a Spider-Man fan?
For a long time. When did the first movie come out?
I think it was like right around 2001, 2002.
It was before that.
Yeah.
I mean, I had Spider-Man books, toys, and whatever. Before the movie came out, I was a Spider-Man fan.
So I think we were both right around 9 when the Tobey Maguire film came out, the first one. What do you remember being the first thing about Spider-Man that left an impact in your memory?
What, the first thing that impacted me about Spider-Man?
Yeah.
The Ultimate Guide to Spider-Man. It was like a big old Marvel book.
Dude, those things rock.
That went through like everything about him.
Yeah.
I remember that really clearly.
But I think for me, my parents didn't let me watch a whole lot on Saturday morning, so when I finally did start watching Saturday morning cartoons, I really dove in because it was like a new, oh my gosh, I was like late to the game, but it was new. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It was Spider-Man cartoons, X-Men cartoons in the 90s. The Spider-Man with Avi Arad and Stan Lee that they wrote together, that covered like the Venom story, the Carnage story, it covered Green Goblin, covered Hobgoblin, it had everybody that you could possibly imagine that became anything worth mentioning, came out of popularity driven from that show. After the first movie, that's when my parents were like, okay, he's seen a PG-13 film. I guess it's okay if he watches this cartoon on Saturday. It flipped the tone for me in my house, and that's kind of where it became the first real encounter with Spider-Man.
Probably, maybe the earliest was the 90s cartoon show. But it's so hard to know, because he's so, like, ubiquitous. He's so everywhere. When I was in Turkey, in these rural villages for a couple months, there was certain things that they didn't know about. But, they hadn't even heard of Jesus. Like, they had Spider-Man shirts. That's not all of Turkey. But in these villages where they had Spider-Man shirts, I was like, dang, like, Spider-Man he's everywhere,
How has the story of Spider-Man impacted your life?
It made me realize I'll never be as cool as Spider-Man. So now I'm depressed all the time. It's probably the same for a lot of people. Like, well, first off, he's freaking cool. You know that he's not the strongest, that he's not the most durable, even though he's really strong and he's really durable. He's not the most uber-powered superhero, but he's freaking cool. His acrobatics, the fact that he's a kid, I'm assuming is why, I think that's why he resonated with me when I was a kid. Because he was a kid.
Yeah.
The moral fabric of the character, which is, the line, with great power comes great responsibility. I took inspiration as a young kid, even though I never have powers like Spider-Man. Doing the right thing, no matter what, and that you have a responsibility to do the right thing, or the responsibility to help when you have the ability to help. You always know where Spider-Man's true north is. He's always had that moral center, so. Yeah,
I think that resonates a lot with... It can speak to anybody, but I think especially for myself, it spoke to me in becoming a man in the early years. When you're a kid and you're a teen and you're going through high school and that kind of thing. And there's especially in the West, there's not a whole lot of definition of when you become a man. It's like it's never really good enough. Like you're 13 and it's like, okay, I'm a teenager now. It's like, oh, but you're still a kid. Everyone treats you like a kid. You're irresponsible. They expect that of you. 18 rolls around and it's like, oh, he's just a punk kid. 21 is drinking age, and then people start telling you, oh, just wait till you're 21. You're 21. Okay, wait till you're 25. 25. Oh, wait till you have 4 kids and you're, it's like there's no here it is. You're a man now. And Spider-Man, as soon as he was kind of in that mode, he was learning all these good lessons from Uncle Ben. And then when he died, the lessons, especially the famous one, great power comes great responsibility, that really locked it in for him, and he decided right then and there, I am going to be responsible for myself and others around me. And that was when he became Spider-Man. That's why he's not Spider-Kid. It's easy to connect with that as a dude.
And I'm not a girl, I'm a boy. I mean a man.
Yeah. So Spider-Man has such a rich backstory with Uncle Ben. Marvel lightly touched on the topic of Uncle Ben and his history in Civil War to prep for Homecoming. What were your thoughts on Marvel just touching on the story? It's a critical moment in Spider-Man's history, but they were able to touch on it in Civil War and not really engage with it at all in Homecoming.
The fact that it was such a good movie without telling that story again was actually really impressive to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
that's how I felt too, man.
At the same time, it could have gone the other way, where if they showed it, I probably would have been like, they really didn't need to show that again. Everyone knows what happened. So I think they made the right choice. We've compared it to Batman's parents dying, you know? And
right.
and like Batman's,
countless iterations over and over
we
and
know
over.
what happened. So like, I'm like, in Batman Superman, they didn't need to show that again. But I feel like the Uncle Ben connection is an even, at least for me, it's even more emotionally, you know, important part of the story for Spider-Man, because it was his fault. It was Peter's fault.
Yeah.
That Uncle Ben died.
Right.
You know, he had the power to stop it, and he didn't. Even, you know, he didn't know that it was going to happen. Yeah. So the fact that wasn't in the movie, and they only lightly mentioned something about it in Civil War, but you still see all of the Spider-Man-ness still came out in the movie.
You still feel it. You know, you still feel that weight of the world on his shoulder.
And nothing was lost on his character, I felt like, and I thought that was good.
The Homecoming sequel, we know, is supposed to be incredibly relevant to the future of the MCU. It takes place immediately following the end of whatever happens in Infinity War. They've already said literally minutes after Infinity War is when Homecoming 2 picks up in the storyline. They could possibly capitalize on the emotion or the trauma of what happened in Infinity War by including flashbacks with Uncle Ben. Now, I think that they probably will do that because of the general lack of Uncle Ben. Who do you think you would like to see play Uncle Ben in a flashback?
Dude, I don't know if I'm going to be able to answer that. Liam Neeson.
Just
kidding. Yeah, they've gone with a younger Aunt May.
And they played her like she was in her 30s, too.
Yeah.
So, like, it theoretically could be anywhere from 30 to...
like 50.
30 to 50-ish, you know? And that being said, Uncle Ben probably is, too. People were talking about it, and even Tom Holland acknowledged this. And he was the one that repeated this and made it popular. The premiere for Homecoming, Tobey Maguire was there. And he got to meet him.
Yeah.
And he said that he thought it would be really sweet if Tobey Maguire would get to play Uncle Ben. He's right around the same age.
I feel like Tobey looks younger. He is younger.
I haven't seen him in anything recently.
Than Marissa. Like, people would go nuts if that happened, you know? So
it would be pretty fun. It would be fun for people our generation. Some of the younger people might not appreciate that, like new millennials and all that stuff. But what did you think of the villains in Spider-Man: Homecoming? And of them, which did you like the best?
Flash Thompson was my favorite.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't have any issues with any of the villains. Obviously, the Vulture is different than the comic Vulture in the sense he doesn't have the green bird suit and all that stuff. They made him for a modern movie. You know what I mean?
He's not the spandex with the fur collar.
But I thought they did a great job. I mean, he was probably, I know he's the main villain, but he's probably my favorite.
I'd have to agree. He was awesome.
But it was cool that they threw in other people, like the Shocker, the Tinkerer, which I honestly don't know a whole lot about.
I do.
they had
I run the questions.
Mac Gargan, you know?
Dude.
And he was just sprinkled in it. You wouldn't even realize who he was if you didn't.
If you don't know.
If you don't know, you don't know.
There's a lot of things they added into this. Casual fans of Spider-Man would not have picked up on.
I thought they did a good job. They didn't fall to the Spider-Man 3 or even Amazing Spider-Man 2 of pushing too much into the story. They dropped people in. The Shocker was natural. The Tinkerer was natural. And then Scorpion, they didn't push him into the story, really. He was just kind of there.
I liked that.
Setting things up, you know.
They set him up nicely for something in the future.
Exactly. Without making him like, oh, Spider-Man has to fight him too. This movie, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he technically did, but he just wasn't equipped. He wasn't equipped yet. That's another thing is that people don't realize about like the Tinkerer's involvement is that he actually supplied a lot of the weapons in the Spider-Verse to a lot of the tech-powered enemies in that universe.
Doesn't the Punisher shoot him in
the Punisher
in the actual comic?
He captures him and I think he interrogates him or something. He realizes he's technically innocent to crimes. He was just aiding people by supplying them with tech. And so as a warning, he stabs him in the spine with a screwdriver and makes him paralyzed from the waist down to put him in a wheelchair. He eventually came back. He was walking again after that.
One batch.
A while after that, yeah. One batch. Two batch.
Betting and die.
You and me, Red. I loved the Punisher. Vulture was, like you mentioned before, a spandex wearing villain with a wingsuit that kind of looked like Batman's cape. If you think about how they could have done that, it should have been something like Sam Wilson's Falcon in Civil War. But as I've quoted before, the infinite wisdom of Marvel Studios, they said, we already have a wingsuit guy. We need a different wingsuit. You know, if we're going to do Vulture, and they wanted to, and they were smart to, because he's a low-level villain. All the villains in the MCU, they're like tearing the galaxy apart. We don't get any low-level villains anymore. It's incredible, and I think that's probably why Daredevil did so well. Daredevil was like, it's the Kingpin, you know? I mean, they had the hand. These are ninjas. Yeah. You know, there's a crime organization, and it was about drugs and crime, and Daredevil was going to clean up the street. Yeah. It did amazing. That was almost everybody's favorite show, unless they couldn't handle the brutal gore in the car door. Wesley. The Vulture, his wingsuit was dope. It had turbines, but they looked very shallow, and no turbines are typically long. These ones look short like fans, and it had the alien tech powering it. It was a super cool rendition of the Vulture. It was so cool. The Ace Combat helmet and the fur on the jacket and stuff. He was dressed like a pilot because he was piloting a flight suit. It was the coolest take, sweetest helmet. I literally went out and bought the pop because it was so dope. I mean, just look at that thing. Even the pop doll looks rad. What was your favorite Easter egg in the whole movie?
Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And,
Let me see the shirt.
That's probably probably the answer to a lot of people. Someone had gotten me a graphic novel for Miles Morales, with a bunch of different issues in it.
Ortiz.
Yeah, Ortiz did. And
God bless that man.
Yes, God bless that man, indeed. It took me a minute when I was watching it to realize Donald Glover was playing
Aaron Davis,
the Prowler, you know? So I was like, oh, and then he said, hey, I have a nephew. And I was like, duh, like...
hey, I got a nephew in Queens.
I don't want that stuff. I don't want those weapons.
Yeah, I got ice cream in the trunk, man.
Right now, in the comics, Miles does exist in the main universe now, in Earth 616.
They drafted him from Ultimate and... straight over.
I'm not sure how it's all going to work, how old Miles is in the MCU right now, or if we're ever actually going to see him or not. He should be younger than Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's friggin' 15. I don't know how young he's supposed to be. The Iron Spider suit was cool, too.
What did you think about the relationship between Iron Man, Tony Stark, and Spider-Man, Peter Parker, in this film?
Iron Man was in this film?
You didn't see any of the trailers before the movie, did you?
I did watch the first trailer. I knew he was going to be in the movie, and from posters and stuff, I kind of thought it was going to be Iron Man featuring Spider-Man.
That is what everyone thought. Based on the posters and the trailers they put out, it looked like it was going to be a total Iron Man movie featuring Spider-Man, and it wasn't. They totally flipped it around just for the promotion and the posters and that kind of thing to draw the crowds, draw attention. And it totally worked.
I thought the relationship made sense. I thought it was good. And I think it's part of why, without Uncle Ben, it succeeded. I'm not sure that Tony is like the moral compass level, on the moral level of Uncle Ben. Yeah. But he still was that drive behind Spider-Man, or wanted him to be better. He says that, like, Peter goes, I just wanted to be like you. Right. After the yacht or the ferry splits in half. Mm-hmm. And Tony says, I wanted you to be better, you know? Yeah. So I thought the relationship was good. I thought he wasn't in it too much. I think some of the most powerful stuff in the movie comes from their relationship. For instance, when he falls from the sky, Peter gets dropped, falls into the water, and who knows if he would have been okay, but you assume, like, Tony was the one who saved him. The Iron Man suit grabbed Peter, saved him from the water, being wrapped up in the parachute. And then you have the ferry scene when Peter's trying desperately to hold it together with, you know, and there's no way he's going to be able to. And Tony saves him then, and then afterwards, Tony takes his suit back and basically says, if you are nothing without the suit, then you don't deserve it. Right. Then we get, like, to the best scene in the whole movie, in my opinion, when he's stuck under the rubble. Yeah. And he
ripped straight out of the comics, by the way.
Yeah, straight out of the comics.
Amazing that was Spider-Man 33. That's exact image for image pull out of the comic book.
That's what was so cool about that scene. But the other thing that was so cool about that scene is you see Peter's growth. The first time, Peter isn't asking for help. He just falls in the water. Mm-hmm. But he has the suit. Tony finds him. The second time, Peter's not asking for help. He has the suit. However, Tony ended up finding him and knowing that the ferry was going on or whatever. He finds him, saves him. Then we have Peter in his pajama suit, basically. Yeah. And this time he is crying out for help, but this time there's no way Tony knows where he is, and there's no way Tony's going to find him. But it's what Tony said about not needing the suit, or if you need the suit, you don't deserve it. That basically drove him to have the strength to save himself. But yeah, I thought their relationship, played out really well. You know, and I think it's the reason why without Uncle Ben, the movie was still so successful.
What were your thoughts on the supporting cast of Spider-Man: Homecoming?
What the heck is his name who played Ned?
Jacob Batalon.
Sorry, Jacob. I mean, he was awesome. I thought he was perfect. His character was hilarious.
He was a sandwich of a bunch of different characters from the comic. First, the name Ned leads
is
one of the three main hobgoblins, and he's actually married to Betty Brant, the office attendant that you see in the Sam Raimi films. And
she's in
Homecoming. She was the girl doing the school news. Ned Leeds, Hobgoblin, who was brainwashed to be the Hobgoblin, and Genki Lee.
Yeah.
So Genki Lee was the best friend of Miles Morales.
Yes.
And he
looks
exactly like him.
So Jacob Batalon was great. Robert Downey Jr. was great.
As a supporter. I know. Was he a co-star or supporting?
I think he's a co-star.
He's a co-star.
Happy
did great.
John
Favreau.
That
guy's a savage.
Had a strong cast, dude. RDJ, Michael Keaton,
Donald Glover.
Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty great. I thought the original Shocker, at first I thought he was Tom Hardy.
That guy looks exactly like Tom Hardy.
When he first came on screen, I was like,
how are they going to have him be Shocker and Venom?
I had no idea. Yeah,
that doesn't make sense. Yeah, but he's apparently not Tom Hardy. So that was the first time I recognized that guy is not Tom Hardy. Also, Bokeem Woodbine, the guy that played the Herman Schultz Shocker, the one that's supposed to really be Shocker.
Dave Chappelle.
I thought that was him. He does not look like... Okay, he does. He did a good job. I mean, I honestly don't even... I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, guys. I know quite a bit. I've read quite a bit. I've seen quite a bit. And I've never seen the actual face of the Shocker. So, I don't know what he looks like. So, to me, it doesn't matter. That's one of those instances where it's like, I imagined him being a white guy. It doesn't matter because it's literally my imagination at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to have gone A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and then in Return of the Jedi, he takes the mask off and dude's Chinese, doesn't matter. We didn't see him until then.
Chinese guy that sounds like James Earl Jones.
That's a huge supportive cast. I thought it went really well, really smooth. Everyone worked well together. The only person I thought was completely irrelevant was the character, Michelle. At the end, they had the nod to MJ. You can literally cut her out of the entire movie. There's no plot significance whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a few quips. She had one in the beginning, one in the middle, one at the end, and then the nod to MJ.
Yeah.
She was funny in her 3 quips.
Yeah. You still have her kind of crushing on Peter. You know what I mean?
Right, and so she was kind of like there, even when she said, "Where are you going, Peter?" He's all, and she's all, "I'm just kidding. I don't really care." And she looks back up at him.
Yeah.
It's like she does care. She cares about Peter. I think they will give her some sort of like a love interest, maybe in the second movie or at the end of the second movie, kind of have some sort of little spark happen, and then just see what they can do with that. They'll probably use her kind of like MJ.
She's going to be used.
She will. She has to be. Otherwise, that's a huge waste. Let's talk about web shooters. We've seen 3 iterations of web shooters. Organic, biological web shooting with Tobey Maguire. It came out like a superpower out of his wrist. Some people think it's gross. Some people think it's awesome. We've seen Andrew Garfield with purely homemade web shooters. And now with Civil War and Homecoming, we have Peter's ingenuity that created the web fluid and got him started on the web shooters. But he got a massive improvement. The Parker Stark tech. So there's organic, there's Parker Tech, and there's Parker Stark Tech. Which of those do you think was the best?
This is putting aside knowing that like the truest to the characters is the last 2 iterations. It's not the organic webbing.
It's not
right?
the organic.
But there's a little part of me that's like, making Spider-Man more powerful is cool.
Giving him another actual superpower.
But at the same time, another part of his superness that he didn't get from the spider, though, is his genius intellect, right?
Right.
The ability to make those things. So that rules out Tobey's webbing for me. It's Amazing Spider-Man and Homecoming. Both showed how smart he had to be to create it. I mean, you see him in science class or like chemistry or whatever, created everything and then
whipping it and stuffing it in the drawer.
Stuffing it in the drawer. I mean, all the Stark upgrades are cool. You see him try and save the yacht with the web grenades and like the splitter web.
Right.
He shocks the Vulture with it, you know, with the shock web.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go with Amazing Spider-Man, though, because I think they got a little more into him actually making it.
His ingenuity.
Yeah, like...
Him being like an engineer, like a homemade engineer type of
Exactly.
thing. That was something that Andrew did really well. The writers did really well of bringing out that hadn't really been delved into. They talked about him being a genius in Tobey Maguire, the Sam Raimi series, but as far as him making stuff, I mean, he basically like chopped up his costume with a pair of scissors, sewed it together. He eventually got a new suit, but then it's like you don't really see him being an inventor. You don't see him being a genius, and he's one of the smartest minds in the Marvel universe. Period. He's up there with Reed Richards, and he gets towards that level. Reed's still up here, but you get Spider-Man. He's really close up there with Iron Man and Reed and a lot of the think tanks of the Marvel universe. Beast from the X-Men. Like there's a lot of super minds, and he's one of them.
I thought they showed that well in Amazing. It's kind of a tie for me between the two. I think they both got that part of the character pretty good as far as the web shooter thing goes.
Rank them. Go.
Rank them. Okay, Organic is 3.
Organic is bottom.
Parker, and then Parker Stark.
Parker, Stark, Organic. Who do you think had the best
Peter
Parker, and who do you think had the best Spider-Man? 2 questions.
Okay, Tom Holland was the best Peter Parker. Tobey. Okay, here's the thing. After I watched Homecoming, I don't want to make anyone offended. No, I'm just kidding. I actually loved them all. I think I'm actually not completely capable of being totally objective towards Spider-Man movies because I love the character so much.
Right. Ranking them doesn't imply that one of them is not awesome. They were all wonderful in their own ways, and I know that sounds like a mom talking about her kids.
I think being a kid and watching Tobey, I didn't realize how old he actually, they all looked to be high schoolers, because I was still a little kid, so high schoolers were basically adults to me anyway.
Yeah.
But now I'm looking, I'm like, dude, he's not.
Flash is like 25.
Yeah, dude,
26.
They're not high schoolers. He was a senior in the first movie, right? So he was older than Tom Holland. Andrew Garfield is kind of the same thing. I'm pretty sure he was already 30 almost when he played.
But it helps that he was skinnier and a little more wiry, so it kind of helped him look a little bit more youthful.
I thought his awkwardness was good, but sometimes maybe a little overly acted. I'm not sure. I liked him a lot too. But I think Tom was just he's the 15-year-old Spider-Man, the perfect Spider-Man for when he becomes Spider-Man. He looks like he's 15.
So not to disrespect, but rather to praise them by which one you preferred the most. Rank them first for Spider-Man.
Oh, for Spider-Man?
You already gave us Tom Holland as the best Peter Parker. Spider-Man.
Gosh.
Come on, man.
I know. Okay, I think I like Tom Holland all around the best. It's hard because I think they got the sassiness in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man really good.
Not small knives. My one weakness.
I kind of might like the way he actually looks in the suit better than Tom Holland looks.
Because he looks more like a man.
Yeah, even though my whole reason for Peter Parker, liking Peter Parker, is that he looks more like a kid.
Yeah, it's like you still want him to be a kid, but look like Spider-Man.
When you see Spider-Man in the suit in the comics, he looks like a freaking stud, right? Not that Andrew was super yoked or anything like that. It keeps being between those two.
Come on, man. We're running out of time.
I know. I'm sorry.
Rank them. Top.
I can't.
Tom Holland is number 1 for Peter Parker. And then...
Can't do this
is it
to
Andrew
somebody,
dude. Is it Andrew?
There's different parts of each character.
We don't have time for this.
You're going to have to do a lot of editing.
I'm going to have to crop all this out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Andrew Garfield.
Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, Tobey. Both ends of that for Peter Parker and for Spider-Man. Now...
Kind of. Go on.
What's your favorite Spider-Man film? And then give me a top 3.
Okay, I'm going to go with... I'm just without overthinking it, I'm going to say Homecoming.
Okay, Homecoming's number 1.
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 1.
That is exactly my order.
I think those are
mine.
Yes.
Homecoming. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1. Well, actually, no, I like that one because Green Goblin.
More than Spider-Man 2?
It's so close. It's so close.
Spider-Man 2 is great.
It's up and down. I love the villain. Dr. Octopus is amazing. But, man, it's so hard to beat Willem Dafoe, dude. He killed it.
Yeah, he's great.
I keep praying every night that DC will pick him up to be the Joker. He crushed it as the Green Goblin, and I think that he would make a phenomenal Joker. Physically, he looks the part. If you guys haven't seen that, Google it. Willem Dafoe Joker. Look it up. It's perfect. Now that we got your top 3.
Actually, probably Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3.
Shut up. What's your favorite Spider-Man movie villain? And then give me a top 3.
Topher Grace.
Shut up. I don't even want to hear it.
It's between Norman and Doc Ock. They both are similar, and Peter looked up to both of them. There's that sense of betrayal. I'll go with Green Goblin. I'll go with Dafoe.
Definitely Paul Giamatti's Rhino.
Yes. Yes.
Willem Dafoe's Goblin. Otto Octavius.
My third, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton's Vulture.
Yeah.
I would agree, and I think actually in that order, I liked Willem Dafoe's Goblin, Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2, and Michael Keaton. And it's actually very close in my estimation of how much I liked them.
So your top 3 was the same.
My top 3, I really liked Green Goblin, and then Michael Keaton's, and then Dr. Octopus. But again, it's very close. It is very, very close. I loved Michael Keaton in Homecoming. In the Spider-Man Homecoming sequel, who's going to be the villain? Or is it a cluster of villains, and who do you see?
It might be Gargan.
They set him up.
He's the one that they've set up the most, and so that's why my mind goes there. I don't know what the storyline's going to be.
I think I do.
Or what it's...
Theory video. All right. So that, I think, was our very last question. And, man, this was a really fun session. It was pretty long, but it was a great session. Thank you so much for coming on board.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys so much for watching. My buddy Zach, his channel, please check it out. It's 5-Minute Web Dev for all your web developing needs and tutorials.
It's brand new, so there's not much content there yet, but I'm releasing it regularly. If you go over there and you have questions, let me know, and I'll make topics on the videos that you want me to.
And likewise with this video, if you have any questions, comments, or if you disagree with anything we said or you had a different opinion, please leave that below in the comments section. We'll be sure to get back to you. If you liked this video, like it. If you loved it, please share it with your friends and your family. If you hated it, share it with your enemies. We'll see you guys next time on The Stuff Legend.